Over 30 years ago, a little game on a black and white screen did something impossible. Pokémon Red and Green didn't just sell millions of copies, they started a global trend that fundamentally changed the RPG genre forever. They took complex mechanics such as party management, elemental weaknesses, and stat building and packaged them in a pocket-sized adventure that completely took over the world. All while giving an entire generation of kids extreme anxiety while that little red battery light started to fade. For me and probably a lot of you watching, Pokemon was one of my first RPGs I ever played. I have crazy memories of Generation 1. My earliest obsession was Pokemon Yellow. Having that little Pikachu follow me around was an unforgettable experience. But years later, I went back and replayed Pokemon Red, and it hit me all over again. The atmosphere, the classic mechanics, and the absolute raw ambition of fitting that massive world onto a 1 megabyte cartridge still holds up. Over 3 decades later, Pokemon has built a global community of fans. We have so much passion for our favorite monsters and regions, building this long life attachment to an amazing franchise. But that passion didn't stop at playing the games. Fans wanted to make their own. They have been pushing the boundaries of what these classic games can do ever since. For years, the ultimate expression of that fan passion was ROM hacking. Creators took the original game files and cracked them open and start rewriting history. We got new regions, increased difficulty, and modern mechanics. But modifying classic games this way is incredibly tedious. You are severely limited by old rigid architecture of the game. It's a lot like trying to completely remodel a house while only being able to look through the keyhole. ROM hacks are incredible, but they always have a ceiling. You're fundamentally attaching new ideas onto a 30-year-old Game Boy engine. If you run a ROM hack, you're still relying on an emulator. Your modern, powerful PC is simply pretending to be a 1990s Game Boy. And that means you still have to abide to the Game Boy limits, memory restrictions, and processing limits, and old glitches. But what if we didn't have to emulate the Game Boy anymore? What if Pokemon Red could just become a native PC game? Enter the Pokemon Red's Recompilation project. This is the massive technological leap that is pushing Pokemon Red's replayability to heights that we could not imagine as kids. To understand why this is such a big deal, let's use an analogy. Think of the original Pokemon Red cartridge like a baked cake. Game Freak mixed all the ingredients together and baked it. For decades, modders were trying to change the flavor of that cake after it was already baked, which is really hard to do. In the Recompilation project, they took that recipe and baked it in a brand new modern oven. No emulators, no simulating old hardware. The game is speaking directly to your PC because this is a native PC game. It is no longer being abide to the limits of the Game Boy. The technological changes are completely off. Let's look what it actually means for you and me playing today. Because this isn't an emulator anymore, we instantly get native Ultrawide support. The original Game Boy had a tiny cramped screen, but now the camera scales outwards seamlessly across your entire monitor. Walking in Viridian Forest with an expanded field of view completely transforms the atmosphere. We also unlock frame rates, pushing it to a butterly smooth 160 FPS, meaning instant menu loading and fluid animation and zero input lag. Perhaps my favorite quality of life feature is native controller support. If you ever mess with emulators, you know the pain of spending 10 minutes mapping your inputs. With this was zero setup. I literally picked up my Xbox Series controller and it was automatically worked right out the box. If the fans catch on to this project, it's going to expand the capabilities of Pokemon Red to completely new levels. Because the game is running on modern C++ PC code, creators can finally have a modern tool set. We're talking about fundamentally rewriting physics, adding built-in online multiplayer, or even getting a PC box system that doesn't force you to save the game every time you switch boxes. But this project isn't just trapped on your desktop. The greatest part about this Recompilation project is that it can be played natively on Windows, Linux, Mac, and Android. This is an incredible win, especially for Android and Linux users. For ultimate portability, you can play on Android with a Bluetooth controller or use a dedicated Android gaming device. And thanks to Linux and SteamOS, we can play Pokemon Red on the go using devices like the Steam Deck. The absolutely best thing about this Recompilation project is that you can export and import your save files to jump between your favorite devices. It can take a little bit of work to move the files between your devices, but you get to enjoy full cross compatibility for your saves. You can start a gym battle on your PC at home and finish it on your phone on the train. To see how far this goes, look at what the community is already building, like shaped Voxel Mod. It is incredibly fun to play because it offers a totally fresh way to experience the game we already played 100 times. This mod takes the flat 2D map of Kanto and turns it into a 3D pop-up book. Cliffs have real height, buildings have full walls, and It even adds real-time dynamic shadows to Pokemon Red. It even gives us a brand new custom 3D battle screen. Yet underneath all of that visual magic, the original core game logic remains completely intact. You know what is the craziest part? The turnaround on this mod is incredibly fast since the first version of the Recompilation project was released. This is just the beginning of the modding scene. With this open code base and the native mod support, it's a matter of time before we see full custom battle animations, cleaner battle UI overalls, and even a fully remastered soundtrack mod. Emulators can simply never achieve this level of freedom. The Pokemon Red Recompilation project isn't just a massive impressive tech demo, it is a ultimate sandbox for developers and players alike. It honors the global trend this franchise started and hands the keys entirely over to the community, completely free from the hardware limitations of 1996. This open code base pushes the game to new heights, and it arrives at the absolute perfect time. 2026 marks the 30-year anniversary of the Pokemon franchise, and honestly, the fans are celebrating it way more than Game Freak ever did. If you want to experience Kanto like this for yourself and see this incredible 3D voxel mod in action on your own screen, you can set this up in less than 60 seconds. Ready, set, go. Head to the official GitHub page for the Pokemon Recompilation project, link in the description below. Go to releases, download the zip file for your Windows or Linux or your Android device. For legal reasons, you must provide your own legally dumped GB file for Pokemon Red version 1.0. On Windows and Linux, extract the zip file and open the application. On Android, install the APK and open the app. Then you need to click import ROM and use your legally dumped ROM. And once it's done loading, congratulations, base Pokemon Red can play native on your device, but if you want to use mods, close the application. For the voxel mod, the link is in the description below. For the dramatic shape mod, download it. Simply drag and drop that file directly in the mod section, and Android, select the mod zip file. Enable the mod, launch the game again. On PC and Linux, you could use the 3 on your keyboard to instantly activate the 3D perspective and press 2 for different color options. That's it. Welcome back to Kanto in full 3D. And just like that, you're playing Generation 1 as a native 3D PC game. I want to hear from you. Who was your very first Pokemon starter when you originally played through Generation 1? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this look at fan projects and game preservation, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and check the video on the screen next to keep on watching. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I see you in the next one. Peace.